There it is, everybody, finally.
On the road to the riches, cause it's all about the paper. Now buckle up your seats and prepare for the journey. Let the music ease your soul, grab a spliff and start burning. Relax with us and take a trip to the heavens. And come and spend a day in the 757. Hydro, the vapes and blunts I smoke. That's exactly what I need when I'm blowing on them.
What's up, everybody? It's the after show, but later episode. Yes, we're here. Wait, hold on. Episode number 300. Now, that may not sound like a lot to some people, right? Rogan's at 1,200 regular shows, about 300 MMA shows, all through the JRE channel. Cavino and Rich have 20 years of shows, about 5 days a week, pretty freaking consistently. And today, I am here for episode number 300. I was thinking about it, and I was like, 300. I got to do something crazy. It's got to be big. We got to have fireworks. We got to have sounds, right? We got to have people cheering. And then I go, D. I call myself D. All right, shut up. Oh, damn. All right. Then I was like, D, episode number 300. You made it to 300 episodes. You know what you need to do for 300? What you've been doing for 300 episodes, right? What's up? Yes, show number 300, Andrew. So I was thinking, what do we got to do? Do we got to have fireworks? Do we got to should I bring Michael Jackson back from the dead? Interview him? What do we do? Do I hit up Johnny and say, Johnny, get the team back together? Do I hit up El Cucuy? Get the team back together? Do I hit up Spot? Hey, do somebody live on camera, 300, episode 300. And then I go, what the hell? Where am I at? There we go. Then I go, no, this is episode 300. Lately, I've been watching Overpromise, and it's been so fun because I can't ever shut up, which makes for a great reaction show where you can't shut up, right? So anyway, episode number 300. Been doing this. I feel like I gotta it's a special episode. Bring in Baseline Trey one more time. Come on.
On the road to the riches, cause it's all about the paper. Now buckle up your seats and prepare for the journey. Let the music ease your soul, grab a spliff and start burning. Relax with us and take a trip to the heavens. And come and spend a day in the 757. Hydro, the vapes and blunts I smoke. That's exactly what I need when I'm blowing.
What's up? Here we are, episode number 300. It's your boy D. I am here in very beautiful, you can see behind me, Yuma, Arizona. Episode number 300. I figured, you know what? I should change my background a little bit. I have the ability to, right? Look at right now I'm Spot. Hey, look at there's Rich. There's Cavino. Look, I if I try hard enough, I could pick Cavino's nose. Anyway, I was like, it's been a crazy week. Oh, you know what? I know what I have to do. Very first and mostly, I need to, I have my little notes right here, right? Episode number 300 notes. You know, if you guys want, I'll sign them, send them to you. Fool. All right. Anyway, so this week, we all know we lost Malcolm Jamal Warner, right? For some, it was Theo Huxtable. For some, it was Malcolm and Eddie. For some, it was Malcolm, right? I'm sure he had children. For some, it was Daddy. For me, it was Theo, and it was Malcolm from Malcolm and Eddie. We also lost Ozzy Osbourne. You know, rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. We lost Hulk Hogan. Very controversial one there, but legend. We all loved him growing up. Our views may have changed as we got older, but growing up, we were all huge fans for the most part. If you were a little boy growing up in America, you probably loved Hulk Hogan growing up. So now let me get to my point. I'm scrolling and I'm on Facebook and I see somebody had put, man, we lost Harambe. We lost Ozzy, and now we lost Hulk Hogan. And they had did a little picture AI with all three of them, right? And I was like, damn. I was like, it's crazy because they're all Harambe, part of the Cavino and Rich history. I have a picture where I dressed up as Harambe when my daughter was like 6 months old. I think it was her very first Halloween. And I'm like, man, she's 9. So I'm like, damn, Cavino and Rich, they were so on that. They had Mana Mana Harambe. Remember that? I'm not going to say the words because, yeah, anyway. So, Andrew, well, hold on real quick. Andrew said, you were a Hollywood Hogan guy. Yeah. So, well, actually, let me finish my thought because I'll get into Hogan right now. But, so I saw this picture. Harambe, Ozzy, Hogan. And I was like, somebody did an AI picture. And there's so much Cavino and Rich history in this picture. Harambe, Ozzy. I'm like, Hulk Hogan. We were all Hulk maniacs as kids, right? And I go, I'm going to share this to the Carl page, right? Hogan, Harambe, and Ozzy. Thinking nothing of it, right? Some people liked it. Some people commented on it. And then somebody commented on it and said, I thought you meant something different at first. And then Lonnie commented and put, yeah, me too. And I can be very naive, right? I'm like, different? What did I was like, what did you mean by different? Clearly, Harambe, big part of Cavino and Rich. Ozzy, come on, Ozzy, Cavino's the rock guy. And Hulk Hogan, Rich freaking dated Brooke Hogan. Yes, I'm spreading that rumor. It'll never die. But I go, what's so crazy? What do you mean you thought something different? What the hell could they? And I literally was on my phone when I saw the comment. And I was like, what the hell could they mean by something different? What could have possibly been different? And I was like, what did they like? Why are people tripping? It's clearly Harambe, Ozzy, and Hulk Hogan. And then there's this GIF or meme or something of Joey from Friends where he's going, and his eyes are real big, right? That was 9,000,000% me when I go, what the hell could they have possibly have meant by that? We lost Harambe. And I guess the reason why it didn't register to me is because if it's clicking for you, people assumed or thought it could be taken as Malcolm Jamal Warner instead of Harambe, Hulk Hogan, and Ozzy. And I think for me, the reason why I didn't even question it or think of that was because I'm like, yeah, I know we lost Malcolm, but he wasn't as big, like a lot of us watched Cosby Show and all that growing up. But in as far as the CNR history, Harambe was big, right? And then I thought about it and I was like, wait, but Harambe wasn't big for whoever posted this picture or created it. It wasn't like Harambe, Hulk Hogan, and freaking Ozzy. And then I go, I think whoever created this was being malicious. And then I was like, damn it, I looked like an ass because I showed my sister and she was like, oh yeah, I was like, oh, I guess like he's trying to be funny or whatever. And I was like, that's not funny though, that's messed up. That was literally what I told her. And she was like, yeah. She was like, I was like, okay, whatever. And I was like, apparently a lot of people did that. A lot of people were like, look at D, met him at the CRC, thought he was cool. Guess we gotta cancel him. I'm gonna disappear. Have you guys seen that video with the little girl? where she's like, I'm gonna disappear. She does a magic trick. If you haven't seen the video, go to TikTok when you're done watching this and search I'm gonna disappear. And there's a little girl. She's like, I'm gonna disappear. That's what I felt like disappearing after I realized what was going on. So if you did see that, D, you've known me for 300 episodes now. 299 before this. I'm the only part of the after show but later that has been here for all 300 episodes. So you've seen 299 episodes of me. Please, please, please don't let it be taken that way, because that was the last thing I intended, and I feel like such a friggin' ass. So anyway, there's my apology for that. What a way to start off the after show, right? Episode number 300 with an apology. Oh, man. So what I did was I even commented, I'm going to have to delete this. And then a couple hours later, I went through and I did delete it. Because I was like, you know what? I do not need people assuming anything. It's just not what I want to be associated with. So anyway, after show but later, episode number 300. Today, we are going to talk about the passing of some of these people. We are going to watch Overpromised. I'm sure they're going to do a tribute to Hulk Hogan. And earlier in the chat, Andrew was saying, you're a Hollywood Hogan guy, right? Yeah. Keep this in mind. I was born in 88. 89, 90, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. By like 96, I'm 8. This is when I am a wrestling fan. 8 years old. It was right before the Attitude Era, right? So 96, WCW, you have Dean Malenko, Chris Jericho, where he had the Walls of Jericho. No. Was it called the Lion Tamer? I think it was called the Lion Tamer back at WCW. Anyway, besides the point. It was right around the time Diesel and Razor Ramon were finishing their tenure at WWF, and they were making their way to WCW. What's up, Lisa? He had both moves. I think the Lion Tamer was the Walls of Jericho, but he changed the name when he came to WWF. Anyway, so that was the heart of when I was in it. Kevin Nash and Razor Ramon come to freaking WCW. They are the outsiders. They're Hey Chico, right? Well, actually, that was Razor Ramon more. But they come over. They're the outsiders. They start NWO. I knew of Hulk Hogan, right? We had a freaking wrestling buddy, Hulk Hogan, right? My brother had the little monitos and shit, the little big rubber dolls or whatever that they were like, and that was all that you couldn't even play with them because they were just like this. Like, how the hell do you play with the doll like this, right? I'm playing with my wrestling figure like, oh, hell yeah, what? All right. They fixed them when I was a little bit older. But the ones my brother had from the 80s, it'd be like, you'd get the Macho Man one, and he was like flexing with like an arm out, and it was just a mess. Anyway, so I knew of Hulk Hogan. You know, I had watched old videos. I remember going to this old video store and picking up an old thing about Hulkamania, watching this video and being like, oh, like I got to kind of see what it was all about, even though I didn't get to live it in the moment. So then he comes over to WCW, and now he's Hollywood Hogan. He has the black, paint. He's all black. He's Hollywood Hogan. So for the next few years, he was Hollywood Hogan. So for me, when I think of Hulk Hogan, I think of Hollywood Hogan because that's who I grew up with. That was my Hulkamania, right? Later left, came back, wrestling at 92 years old. His colors, looking like McDonald's or whatever. But I grew up with Hollywood Hogan. But anyway, let's go ahead and see what Cavino and Rich. Should I go ahead and see what Cavino and what Rich have to say about Hollywood Hogan? Let's go ahead and check this out.
Sad week, but we're gonna do our best to have fun and pay homage, tribute to another legend lost, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, man.
Terry Bollea, one of Rich's heroes.
Big part of all of our childhood, man. If you grew up in the 80s, you were training, saying your prayers, eating your vitamins, you were doing everything the Hulkster told you to do.
He's a real American. We're Cavino and Rich, Fox Sports Radio, Monday through Friday, 2 to 4 on the West, 5 to 7 on the East. Next week, we're filling in for Colin Cowherd on Thursday and Friday.
Yes.
Make note of that. But always a pleasure to be here. This is the stuff we didn't have enough.
You know what? Automatically. 48 seconds in, and I already got a break, so I can go ahead and jump in on this. But there's pros and cons to, if you guys don't like tweet or you're on social media, like you have an account, but you don't really do things. This is where if you are, you do things like I do. There's pros and cons to setting up scheduled tweets. So they said they're filling in for Colin next week. So I have my tweets to go out. They go on at 2 p.m. Fox Sports Radio here in Arizona. So 1:50, I set up these tweets for the month, right? August 1st, I'm like, okay, or maybe the end of July. I'm like, hey, everybody, check out Cavino and Rich, whatever. Don't miss a second. They're here with Danny G, blah, 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 blah. Boom, boom. August 1st, 1:50 p.m. August 2nd, right? Hey, I know you had whatever. Let's gear up for the weekend. Boom, send. We'll go through all the weekdays, right? So I freaking, two things. They filled in for a lot of Dan Patrick this week or this month. So I had tweets going out. Hey, don't miss Danny G and Cavino and Rich. They're live in 10 minutes. And then freaking Monty would be like, I'm going to fill in with Dan Byers. And then I was like, fuck, man, damn it. I knew that. But I forgot that I had set up these these scheduled tweets. And then freaking Sam was like, hey, back tomorrow. Right? And then like Danny G would be like, we'll be back in live on Monday, right? And I was like, damn it. So I had multiple, and I thought I went through and I thought I deleted the ones that were supposed to go out because they had kind of different hosts every day. Whatever, cool. Bada bing, bada boom. You win some, you lose some, right? And then I was looking at a tweet that was sent out today. So today's Friday, if you're listening, if you're future, dude. I was looking at the one that was sent out today, and it was like, Thursday's the new Friday. Gear up for Cavino and Rich. A lot of these are freaking, I'm not creating them. I'm having the internet create them for me, and then I just throw them up there. And it's like, Thursday's the new Friday. So apparently, I freaking scheduled the tweets like one day off. So I'm like, is your Tuesday bumming you out? And it's like freaking Monday or Wednesday or whatever, right? It was a day off. Hey, it's hump day. No, it's not. It's Tuesday. And I was like, damn it. And I was like, oh. So I think I need to pay more attention to the scheduling of tweets that I have pre-scheduled or whatever. But anyway, man, I'm just, you try to do something nice. What does Sam Kinison say? Lisa, love your Monty voice. And then, Andrew says, great Monty impression. Hey, Covino, the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves? I'm like, Timberwolves? What the hell's a woof? A woof? Isn't that what, like, when little kids, they're pointing a dog? Woof, a woof. Woof, woof. Because that's what they say, woof. Anyway, great Monty impression. Bada bang, bada boom. Seriously, I don't know how the guys do it. Voice tracking and advanced. Exactly. That's... The thing is, I know they said they've done things where they record something and then like a tragedy happens or something, right? And Rich is like, oh, damn it. I already recorded freaking Pop 2K for tomorrow. And I'm like, hey, I hope you're having a great Sunday. And freaking 10 minutes ago, the freaking Twin Towers hit or whatever, And so I don't know how they... I guess because they're professionals, right? That's how they do it. But they'll go in and they'll have to recut certain things because they'll be like, right, if freaking Jake Paul's a minus 900 and you're like, oh, well, I hope you guys had a great weekend. Jake Paul won, blah, 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 blah. And then he gets knocked out. And then you're like, damn it, I got to go and recut that. So yeah, I don't know how they do the advanced stuff. I feel like it'd be easier for me to censor myself live and not curse or whatever, then remember that I have to go back and recut things. So it's truly an art. They're superstars, is what Lisa says. I believe it. I do believe it. And it's funny because they're so personable. They're so down to earth. They're so willing to hit you up back, text you, call you, whatever, right? And people, I think a lot of listeners even, I feel like they don't understand how in there they are, right? Like Rich had said when they were at the MLB All-Star game, Rich was like looking around and he said, he was like, well, we should be here. If anybody should be here, we were their boss, a few years ago. That person, picks their nose and they fart. Like he was like, we should be here. And I think they have to reassure themselves more than if I was there, I'd be like, whoa, I just interviewed Janet Jackson last week. Yes, your boy made it, and I think that's what's kept them so humble is that they're like, yeah, they know they should be there, but at the same time, they're like still trying to like they always say, we haven't hit our full potential yet. And I'm like, man, when they do, that's going to be nuts. Yeah, it's cool that they're humble. I love it, man. I was talking to Spot yesterday or Wednesday, I don't remember. But we were talking, or was it today? My days are so, this has been a very long week for me guys. But I was talking, and he was telling me I was asking him questions about the video, the CRC20 video that he made. And he was like telling me things he used and different techniques he used because I was like, it came out so great. What other show on earth are you going to have that interaction with their producer, right? They produce something, they put it out there, they have boom, that's it. You can't ask them, hey, how'd you do this? I thought that was cool. And they're awesome, man. And obviously if they were not, I would not be here 300 episodes later, wish they'd realize they're kind of a big deal. I know. I do too. But actually, at the same time, I don't. Selfishly. Because I'm like, whoa, maybe they'll stop talking to us. Maybe they won't be as interactive. No! Right? Because I'm like, they're going to have one of these big, gigantic contracts come up in the next couple of years. Oh, man. I feel like, I don't know. I don't think they ever will. Big time, the listeners. But anyway, let's see what else they have to say. More than 48 seconds in.
Time for on a regular show. So appreciate you, Steve Cavino, Rich Davis. Like you said, man, our childhood took a hit.
Oh, Andrew says the video was great. 48 seconds has stopped it. It's now 56. Andrew said the video was great, especially because they used my photo with the guys. That's awesome because I think that was one thing that was, you know how hard it must have been to get as many people in this video as they did. There's a long video, a long picture kind of sat on Dave, the homie Dave Ibarra, who lives here in town. I met through Cavino and Rich. How cool is that? Right? Andrew got his picture in there. Like I think I saw Mike in a picture, right? Mr. Lisa. And I got to see me and Bree on stage, where we're freaking, I'm moving my hands like this. I'm like, I'm in that video. That's awesome. I'm in the back of a couple of pictures. Saw me holding my shoulder. I realized I have a nervous tick or something where I grab my shoulder a lot. Half the pictures you see, I'm like this. I look like I have a torn rotator cuff. So there's all kinds of pictures. I'm in the background like this. But yeah, I think we all played that game. I showed it to my sister and my brother-in-law. And I think we all played that game of, what's that mean? Oh, that's the back of my head. There, I saw the back of me talking to somebody at the dinner. And I was like, who was I talking to? Rewind. Is that when I met Jordan? Rewind. Showed it to my family, showed it to my mom. I was like, check this out. Look at. This is what me and Julie did that day. Remember we went on that weekend to Las Vegas with Cavino Rich. Remember we went over there? Look. No, mama, look down. Stop crushing candy. Look. We're in the video. Okay, yeah, because my mom still crushes candy like Cavino's lady. All right, let's see what else they got.
This week, Malcolm Jamal Warner, 54. Theo Huxtable passed away in Costa Rica. So unfortunate. Then, icon, music legend, superstar Ozzy Osbourne at 76. We've been talking about that all week, still processing that. And then you wake up today, and you're like, the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan? I thought Jimmy, Mouth of the South Heart, said he was all right. I guess.
Ah! Ads, homie? Ads?
I do two things that I love: dancing.
Ads?
You're right. So I don't need that to come back. It's
What
just
the
fun to
hell
reminisce
is going
about
on
it.
here? See, this is whack.
Get going. Or you can play behind.
Where the heck?
Mania workout set.
Great.
This got everything you need.
Hold
Head
on,
and
guys.
wristband.
What the hell happened there? I'm gonna disappear. Oh. So apparently I was on the right video for a second and didn't realize that this isn't an ad. This is, oh wait, what the hell? I'm so sorry, guys.
You watch the pay-per-views. I remember like crying when he lost to Ultimate Warrior. So
The hand grip. I always use the Hulk Hogan hand grip. We'll get to that.
what are you good at gripping now?
Yeah, butt cheeks. And you should see my grip, my squeeze, courtesy of the hand grip. And of course, Chuck Mangione, too. Feels so good. Passed away at 84, a jazz legend. But man, the Hulkster. We got to go over your favorite moments,
Yeah,
Rich.
I mean, listen, the billion-dollar industry that is the WWE all started in 1984 when the Hulkster brother beat the Iron Sheik, Madison Square Garden. It was one of those moments when I was just a little kid, but
Do you ever think of that? I do. I don't know why, because I think of very often I go like, I'm like, like how different would the world have been if, say, Hulk Hogan like wasn't, what he was, because he changed it from old dorks to entertainment, right? What would life be like if there was no Michael Jackson, no Elvis, right? These that were freaking phenomenons, right? These that had such an impact on our culture. And I go, what right now? What are some things right now that life would be different, right? If Michael Jackson's son, if Prince could actually sing, he can't, and he'll tell you. I know from experience, dude. But I just think about that, like, damn, like how many things would have been different without certain things like that, and how many things are not different because maybe somebody got hit by a bus or something, right? And they never became the Bieber or something. Anyway.
I remember the buzz. Like before that, wrestling was just old hairy grapplers. Like, hey, get the Polish guy Ivan Putski against the Italian guy Bruno Sammartino. Hulk Hogan was the beginning of like the gimmicks.
Yo,
with
but
Vince
let's
McMahon.
like really
Hey, you want to hear some Mexican ass shit? So, growing up, I don't know why, even me, when I say Hulk Hogan, I gotta kind of make sure I enunciate, right? I have a cousin, right? He's still with us. That he'd call him Hawk Hogan. Hawk Hogan. And would never to this day. And he would say, do you guys remember Yoko Aazuna? So, let me see. Okay, so my cousin would say Hulk Hogan and Aazuna. Aazuna, Yoko, right? Yoko Ono. They're trying to make him Japanese? Yoko? No? Aka? What the hell's an Aazuna? A Yokozuna, right? A sumo wrestler? A Yokozuna? The hell's a Aazuna? I don't know. Maybe it's a Mexican thing. I have to make sure I really enunciate. My cousin, he freaking says Aazuna, Hulk Hogan. I don't know, man. Let's see. Let me look at the chat for a second. My first memory of wrestling was watching Hulk Hogan getting avalanched by King Kong Bundy. Then I'd ordered WrestleMania 2 so I could watch Hogan versus Bundy in a steel cage. You know what's crazy is that the thing that was most impactful for me, not Hogan related, but something like that was the something that was that impactful for me, and I've still watched it a few times recently, and with my daughter, who was like, damn, this was dope, was Hell in a Cell. The second one, not the first one with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, which was good, but with Undertaker and Mankind. Everybody knows that one, right? For me, that was one of those will forever, and maybe because I've seen it at this point, probably hundreds of times. I've watched so many videos where Undertaker and Mankind, they talk about it on their own. They talk about it together. That's one of those. I don't remember WrestleMania 2, but that's one. And Andrew says he was so nervous that he thought Hulk Hogan was going to die. I mean, damn it, he did die. No, he thought he was going to lose. We'll have to cut that in post. He was so nervous he thought he was going to lose, so he was in tears. So Andrew says he watched the Dark Side of the... Damn it, I just can't speak today. I was going to say Dark Side of the Moon. He watched the Dark Side of the Ring on that match. I did too. It was awesome. It was... If you guys grew up watching wrestling and you don't watch it now, like I haven't watched wrestling in freaking... Oh, actually, I lied. When Raw came to Netflix, me and my daughter watched it for like 2 weeks. But I haven't watched wrestling before that in like 20 years. Easily 20 years. Damn, probably 25 years, maybe. But anyway, I haven't watched wrestling. You know, I missed the end of Stone Cold's reign where he started going, what? And John Cena came in and Randy Orton or whatever the hell his name is. I missed all those fools. But if you did watch that kind of stuff growing up, those Dark Side of the Rings are so good. I don't know. I think I just like Vice because Vice produces them and they do so many good things. Let me see. Hulk Hogan. You know, I had some actual notes I wanted to get to. Oh, speaking of wrestling, EJ Reed and Chris Rucker, they have their own podcast. Check it out. It's called Boot to the Face. And EJ, I was actually checking him out the other day, and EJ was like, at the CRC, he was like, you know, they always say that Daniel Javier Fitz likes boy bands. He's like, but I thought he was capping. But he got up there and he sang Backstreet Boys. EJ, come on. It's gonna be May. Come on. We know that's in sync. Everybody knows that, right? They're not the same. Even though my daughter says they're the same. She'll say something about, hey, Daddy, it's the Backstreet Boys, Mike Kennedy, that's in sync. And she's like, same thing. I'm like, no. Growing up, it was like Coke and Pepsi. Every Coke needed a Pepsi. Every Pepsi needed a Coke. But even though, you know, you might have a Coke every now and again, if you were a Pepsi dude. You might have a Pepsi every now and again, if you were a Coke dude. But you did have a side. I was more BSB. I felt like NSYNC was a little more feminine for the females, right? NSYNC or Backstreet was cool, right? AJ had facial hair and tattoos. He was a rock dude, right? Nick Carter would go to Slayer shows, right? He loved freaking, all right, anyway, getting too nerdy now. But EJ said he thought I was capping, and then after he saw that, he's like, nah. This fool had choreography and everything. And yeah, so if you wrestling, Dark Side of the Moon, damn it, did it again. Dark Side of the Ring, and Boot to the Face with EJ and Rucker. Andrew Sim says, I haven't really watched wrestling since 02. I did watch Cena Rhodes this last Mania. You know what? That's 02 is probably about the time I stopped, if not a little before, because 02 was my freshman year of high school. 02, 03, that year was my freshman year of high school. By then, I had taken off already from WWF was back here. I think by then it was probably WWE already, but nah, I'll never call it WWE because it's not. It's WWF. I don't care. I don't ain't no about no damn pandas. Right? It's about Gorilla Monsoon. It's about Hulk Hogan, Degeneration X, Bret Hart, the Hart Foundation, Anvil. Lisa says she hasn't watched Boot to the Face in a long time. You know what? You know what I liked about Boot to the Face is that a lot like this show. It's the Cavino and Rich after show. However, do I always stay on Cavino and Rich? No. So even though I don't watch wrestling, checking out Boot to the Face is pretty cool because they go off on tangents, right? They were talking about the CRC. I think Rucker made a white girl's joke, right? EJ's talking about what he's saying at the CRC and doing karaoke. They went off on a karaoke tangent. Freaking Rucker was saying how he signed up one time at Cat's Meow, but he never got called. It was right. So they go off on these tangents, which I like. I think it is cool to have a focus like, WWF like that. But it's cool to go off on tangents. I just feel like a lot of us, especially in today's world with TikTok and social media, a lot of us, I feel like, go off on these tangents and stuff. Andrew's asking, who was it that reminded you of Gorilla Monsoon? Well, I was editing, I think yesterday or the day before, and it was Clive Davis. Clive Davis, if you don't know, one of the most successful record producers in record history. Whitney Houston, right? Celine Dion. He's worked with some of the best. And you may not know this, but in 2001, he launched a new record company called J Records, right? There was a lot of the boy bands at the time were signed to Jive Records, Jive. That's the Millennium album. That's No Strings Attached, things like that. Well, Gorilla Monsoon comes in looking like a mobster and starts J Records. Did it have to do with Jive Records? No, but I think that was, he's a smart man. Oh, all these boy bands are Jive Records. Well, I'm going to start a new company called J Records. And the launching act off of J Records, do we have it right here? Oh, no, wrong one. Anyway, the launching act from J Records was Otown. Would it be an after show but later without Otown? Right? And that was something that EJ said on Boot to the Face. He was like, yeah, he did Backstreet Boys, but I thought he was an Otown guy. And I'm like, EJ. Come on. Edward James, almost, right? You were almost on point, but you got to think about this. I'm a huge Otown guy, figuratively and literally. However, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, those are the ones that people know, right? You don't even have to be a fan of them. It's gonna be me. I want it, right? You may not know, it's gotta be you, right? You may not know those. You may not know every song we're doing at the Sphere, right? Get another boyfriend, right? Let's talk about one big thing. You got to hear me out. Do you really want to be the last to know what it's all about? Right? You may not know those, but it's going to be me. Bye, bye, bye. You know, Quit Playing Games with My Heart. You think people know Liquid Dreams? No, EJ. I'm playing to my crowd, dog. If I was in the hood with a bunch of vatos, you think I'd be playing anything close to that? No. We'd have on some Freddie Fender, some Tell It Like It Is, right? We'd have some of those, right? You got to play to your audience, is what I'm saying. Andrew says Otown over Backstreet. Okay. Now, I missed out on New Kids on the Block because I was too young for that. That's for old people. So when I was growing up, Backstreet Boys are what introduced me to this kind of music. But to see from the very inception of Otown with making the band, even though Netflix is trying to rip them off today, building the band, we all know what you're doing, Netflix. Otown over here, 1999, right? Started off with thousands of kids. Got it down to a couple hundred kids. Down to the top 25 to 8 to 5. Ikaika left. They're going to try to do it as 4. They can't do it as 4. They need a 5th member. Lou Pearlman's auditioning 5th members. What does Otown say? Let's bring in Dan Miller. He was from the top 25. We like him. Let's get this going. Got to see all of that. Got to see them break up. Got to see them get back together. Got to meet them. When I met Jacob Underwood, he said, your last name's with an F, right? And I was like, Jacob, it's me. Fitz, right? Your last name's Fitz? And I was like, so do you think Nick Carter would be looking at D saying, hey, D? No. Since then, have met them a handful of times, and they're great dudes. Have always been nice to me and my family. My mom's met them. My sister's met them. My wife's met them. So, over is Otown Ashley Parker Angel. Yes, Ashley Parker Angel. However, Ashley did not reunite with them when they came back together in about 2014-ish. No, Ashley. And I have to admit, some of the music that they've put out in the last few years, some of their best. They have a song where it's called What You Want to Do. And it actually reminds me of kind of like, and I know people are probably going to throw up, but it just has like a Prince vibe to me. And I love music, all kinds of music. So maybe Ashley Parker Angel was with them, but I mean, you know, I love Ashley, still follow a lot of his stuff. But he's no longer with the band. Anyway, I'll have to chop a lot of that out of the final thing that I put out for you guys.
Playing who put him on the map, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thunderlips, man. Balboa saw him as a superstar. Rocky 3.
Yeah, pretty crazy to think that.
It always bothered me that he was Thunderlips and not Hulk Hogan in the movie.
Thunderlips, Hogan, still.
Andrew says, Otown sounds like the Cavino and Rich of boy bands to you. And you know what? I guarantee you that's why their fan base has grown with them. And I remember so Otown split in like 03, 04-ish. I remember in like 07, I had added Jacob from the band on my Facebook. I was like, right? What the hell? And he had accepted it or whatever. And then I remember I shared a Michael Jackson video. And he had liked my video and commented on it. And I was like, just that interaction, I'm like, you have a fan for life. Somebody that's going to be that cool. Hey, I don't know this dude. Some fat Mexican from friggin' Arizona. Whatever, I'll add him. And then doing that, and then like, that's just freaking like, that they're so down to earth. So people could bag on them. People could whatever. And I don't care. I'll always rock with them because they've always been hella cool dudes. Real quick, still on the music tip, this last weekend, last Friday, I went and I saw Morgan Wallen, Miranda Lambert, and Ella Langley, which, dope show. Honestly, Morgan Wallen was probably my least favorite part of the show. I think Miranda Lambert was my favorite part. I've known a lot of Miranda Lambert music. Ella Langley has some songs that I really love. I was telling my wife, I was like, babe, this is my favorite song. She was like, I've never even heard this song. And I was like, well, I'm sorry. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. You're not the music. I can't even think of a word, right? I'm Mexican. The music savant, right? Is that a word? Savant. I think I went to school with a girl named Savant. Cavino gave me a hug at the stadium swim at the CRC. And now I'm a fan for life. They bring it in. You know what? And that was one thing. I know I said it on the recap. I never saw Cavino, especially at Cat's Meow, without his arm around somebody. Just, bringing them in close, talking to them, being genuine. I never saw that. But saw Ella Langley, Miranda Lambert, Morgan Wallen, and Morgan Wallen on night 2, Saturday, said he almost didn't know if he was ever going to come back to Arizona after the Friday show. And I was like, what? Friday? I was at the Friday show. It was dope. I cheered. Lost my voice. Knew way more Morgan Wallen songs than I thought I knew. Well, apparently, people paid their good money, hundreds of dollars for tickets, right? And people were throwing beers at him, tugging on him. There's a point in the show where he goes to the back of the room and he goes on this very small stage, probably no bigger than like 6x6 or something, maybe a little bit bigger. Anyway, it's a very small stage. Gets at the piano, plays a couple songs, sits at the piano, lifts up, right? So these people that thought they were in the back of the room are now right here with Morgan Wallen. And people were throwing beers at him. When he was going from the very front of the stage to the backstage, area with where the people were, and he's walking through the crowd. I was watching videos on TikTok, and people were pulling at him, like jerking him. And he would mad dog people like, what the hell is your problem? I don't know how people could go to a show because they're fans of him. And I'm going to throw a beer at him? People are straight up animals. I got a real good feeling something bad's about to happen. Yeah, people are animals. Like, I was like, this dude, why? He, like Hulk Hogan, has been caught up in some controversy, walked off SNL, right? Has said some things, thrown chairs off of buildings or whatever. However, I'm like, from what I've heard, is he to this day stays after shows, signs things for people, take pictures, whatever. I'm sure you get like the VIP, you can pay like $600, $700 to take a picture of them, whatever. But he does this out of the kindness of his heart after shows. Will stay and take pictures with people, sign things. And people are going to throw beers at him. I don't understand people. I don't understand. I had never been to a stadium show. Looking at the stadium, I was like, I had never been into State Farm, which was where the Cardinals play. I had never been in there. So I was looking around. I was like, this is freaking dope. Especially like, once we had those wrist things that light up according to whatever like song he's playing or whatever. And I was like, damn, this dude, he's like 33 years old. And I'm like, this dude's doing this shit right now at the top of the level, the biggest level. On Instagram or TikTok or something, I forget which account it is, he has 6.2 million followers. I didn't know he was that popular. I mean, forgive my ignorance. I knew he was famous. I've heard the name, whatever. 6 million? I'm like, this dude, because when I was going to check his account, it's on TikTok, because I was scrolling and he popped up because I've been watching a lot of things from the concert. And I was like, he got like 1.2, 900,000 followers, whatever. 6 point whatever million. I was like, holy crap. I didn't realize that he was that famous. I was like, really? And when we were leaving the stadium, I looked over at my lady and I was like, hey, I go, I've never seen this many white people in one place in my entire life. She goes, okay. She didn't know how to react. But for real, I was like, I've been to a gang of shows, right? It's always a mix of people. I've been to some Mexican ass shows where it's beaner as hell, and I'm the whitest person there. But I've never been to a show that white in my life. To this day. Andrew says, how have you not been to the Cardinals Stadium? You're the 19th fan. I forgot about that. I am, and you know what? I've never been to a football game ever. So I might have to change out this coming season, because as much as we travel and all that, how have I not been? Right? How have I not? I guess because I'm not a huge Cardinals fan. Maybe that's why. But I think just going, last season, my buddy had season tickets, and he was like, oh yeah, let me know if you want to roll through or whatever. And I was like, yeah, for sure. Never hit him up. So, football games are fun. EJ, you missed. I literally had your name on my notes for today. It says EJ and Rucker. EJ thought I was capping about boy bands, and then I went off on a 15-minute rant about boy bands. So go back and listen to that in the future. But anyway, games are fun. Lisa says, I'm a Giants fan, so have you been to any games, Lisa? I'm assuming you have, right? I feel like everybody from the East Coast, they all go to like Yankees games and, all that, because it's like in walking distance and all that. I don't know. For me, I'm not even really I'm not a Cardinals fan, really. Kind of whatever. I live in Arizona, so I guess kind of am. But it's a 3-hour drive. So I got to drive 3 hours, see a team I kind of want to see or whatever, I mean, I guess it'll be cool because games are fun and whatever, but I'm going to drive 3 hours to, whatever. Actually, you know what? It's almost 6 p.m. So, my lady, I got to respond to EJ's comment right now, but my lady, was like, hey, you picking us up from Sky Harbor on Saturday morning, right? And I was like, yeah. I was like, what time do you guys land? 6:30. So I either have to go tonight and get a hotel, or leave at like 3:30 in the morning. I'll probably end up driving. I don't feel like going to get in a hotel for a few hours. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to be up at 3:30 in the morning. My day tomorrow is so crazy because I gotta be up at 3:30, drive to Phoenix, pick up my wife and daughter, drive home. By then, the UFC is gonna be starting because it starts at 9. Watch a little bit of the UFC. The main card starts at 12. At 1, I have a birthday party I need to go to. I don't know when the hell I'm gonna sleep. I should probably go to bed right now, and you guys are probably keeping me up. Anyway, EJ says, you were an Otown guy. I was a Together guy. Well, get this, EJ. I know my calculus. I know you plus me. You plus me equals us, right? I loved Together because they started out as a comical monkeys type band, whatever, jokingly, whatever, right? Kevin Farley was the older brother type in the boy band, right? You had the younger brother one. The younger brother was he ended up dying of like stomach cancer or something. Huh? Yeah, R.I.P. QT. Exactly, EJ. Then you had the rebel one, was that freaking trashy looking white guy that looked like he smoked cigarettes. He always had that like seashell necklace, right? And he looked like they had that. They had Calculus. What else did they have? I know there's a couple of songs, but you plus sign me equal sign us. All right, EJ. So who? Never even heard of that band. So Lisa, in the early 2000s, MTV had a band that was supposed to be like a fake band, right? It was a show, like almost like a sitcom, that was about a boy band. And they had all parts of the boy band. They had the little brother, right? The one that looked like he was 15. They had the older brother, like the Kevin Richardson from Backstreet Boys or Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC. The one that was older, he was like the older brother. They used Chris Farley's real brother. So dude's like 45, balding, right? So they had the younger brother, they had the rebel, they had the heartthrob, right? So it was a show, you know, and for the show they made music because it was funny, it was comedy, whatever. People really started to like these songs. So then they ended up coming out on TRL. They started putting out tracks, they started touring. And then the little brother, the one that was like the little brother, I think he got like stomach cancer or something and ended up dying. So no more together. Now they're not together. And the Shy Guy, they had the Shy Guy. I could still see that dude. He reminded me of Lance Bass, EJ. A spoof TV show like Hannah Montana. Kind of. And also how Hannah Montana actually made music, right? And she was like, we've got the best of both worlds, right? Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days, right? You know how like she actually ended up making those songs and then touring with them? That was basically what they did before Hannah Montana. So if they ever do a show like Dangerous History on boy bands, you should be on it, D. I wouldn't even have to do any research. I mean, there was 5. All right, I'm going to stop it soon, but EJ got me back on this. 5 natural, right? Of course, LFO, Otown, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. But there was so many that you never even heard of. Who was C-Note. They had C-Note. There were so many. Dream Street. You guys know Jesse McCartney? Freaking, yeah, he started off on, I think, All My Children or One Life to Live or one of those. Then he left the show to be in this boy band called Dream Street. Then he broke off. I don't want another pretty face. I don't want just anyone to hold. Then he was Jesse McCartney, the single artist. Psh. Yeah, BB Mac. Because you're right here, baby. Right? Back here. Miss you, want you, need you so. Right? I mean, come on now. Throw some. Come on, throw some at me, EJ. Come on. You got any more brain busters, right? Speaking of the Happy Gilmore release tonight, I don't know anyone as knowledgeable about boy bands as you. Yeah. I was a very like MTV kid, you know, lived off of that and always loved music. So at the same time, I was into I'm Coming Undone, Korn, right? Something takes a part of me. Something lost and never seen, right? Or freaking like I was into. Do you guys remember Blue Monday? Orgy, the band Orgy, Blue Monday. Do you guys remember just all of that time, all of that music from that time? I was just like hella into. So the boy bands are just what kind of stuck with me because they're the most family friendly, right? I remember I went through a crazy Eazy-E phase, and I remember bumping Eazy-E in my room and my mom getting pissed because there's a song called Nobody Move, Nobody Get Burned, Nobody Move. I said lay down and unbutton your bra. They was the biggest that I ever saw. I said damn. And then the air got thinner. Only thought my mind was going up in her. The suspense was making me sick. Took her panties down and the had a oh come on now. My mom was like, what the hell are you playing? And I was like, come on, man. Why are you trying to get all of my flavor? Or what did he say? That was me in my room. I was like, damn, dropped the gat from my hand. What I thought was a chick was nothing but a man. Put my gat to his leg all the way up his skirt because this is one that I had to hurt. Nobody move. Nobody get burnt. It sounds like EJ is in second place for boy band knowledge. Soul Decision. Soul Decision. When I get you all alone, I'm going to take off all your clothes, right? Nobody gonna interrupt my game. Oh no, no. They had one of the dopest bangers, and Soul Decision never got the love that they deserved. There was 3 guys. They had kind of more of a little-ish rock feel to them. What was it called? It was Faded was their hit. Kind of faded, but that's what headphones were for. Andrew Sims, we were born the same year, so our pop knowledge is very similar. And it's true. So the thing is, a lot of this wasn't even things that we were into. It was things that you couldn't avoid. So you could tell somebody younger than you or older than you, but at the same time, it was kind of like, we had like 5 channels, right? If you were into music or whatever, MTV was one of them. So that was just, it was things that were just on every channel, right? Say What Karaoke with Dave Holmes. You guys remember that? Say What Karaoke. We had, it was before even Next. Do you remember that show? It was around the Real World with, was it Malik? Coral. It was around that time where all of that pop culture stuff was just, even if you didn't want to, you were absorbing it. So there's things like, he said Soul Decision. I haven't thought about Soul Decision in forever. TRL After School was standard. And you know what, EJ? So I remember I didn't know about the delay, and they were on the East Coast, right? So by the time I got home from school, right, 3, maybe 4 p.m. Arizona time, it was 6 or 7 East Coast time. And my dumb ass thought, because it was called Total Request Live, I didn't think about the tape delay. So there'd be days I'd be trying to call. I'm like, hey, Carson, I want to request BB Mac back here, and I would just get a busy signal. One day, maybe about 10 years ago, I tweeted Carson Daly, and I put, hey, Carson, I missed TRL yesterday. Who was number 1? And he tweeted me back, and he put Jay-Z Big Pimpin' again. See, that's another story that Carson Daly, come on now. For me and EJ, Carson Daly was the dude, right? He all the chicks knew him, right? He interviewed everybody who was anybody at the time. And it was just like, that was, after he left, came in Damian Fahey, Brian McFadden, who actually follows the after show on Instagram and watches our story. So shout out to Brian McFadden. Came in after they had Caduce, right? They had all of that was the second generation after Carson was on his way out. They brought in this new crew. Try to have multiple people replace Carson. It still kind of didn't work, but still loved TRL. So Carson Daly was everything. He wasn't Lala a co-host too? Yeah, she was. They had so many. They had Lala was a co-host. They were kind of shuffling through people to try to find, I think, kind of like what would stick. Lala was a co-host. Damian Fahey. They always had I think a chick and a dude. Lala and Damian Fahey. Brian McFadden did a lot more of, he would do hosting, but he would do also the MTV News. So they had Such and Pac. They had the Norris guy. Not Lee Norris. Lee Norris is Minkus from Boy Meets World. John Norris, Kurt Loder. They had all of them, but I was too old for TRL, says Andrew. The bald guy. Who is the bald guy? Matt Pinfield. Dave Holmes, Jesse Camp. You guys remember Jesse Camp? I wonder is Jesse Camp alive? Could you imagine? You know what? We need to get Jesse Camp on the after show. Matt Pinfield. Yep, exactly. Matt something is what EJ says. Matt Pinfield. Matt Pinfield, Dave Holmes. Those were all MTV people that were not the Carson Daly. But from that era, they all made up. And Matt Pinfield actually does a lot in music. I think he was sick recently, or he died or something, if I'm not mistaken. If he did, R.I.P. If he didn't, then, B.I.G., ABC. Something was wrong with that dude. Wasn't Jesse homeless? I don't know, but Jesse won the Wanna Be a VJ contest. And what's funny is that I think, was it Cavino that said that he auditioned for Wanna Be a VJ? I think it was. I think Rich did too. I think they both did, because I remember looking up a video and I feel like I saw Rich in the background of a video, because I was determined to find it when they were talking about this. And I was like, is that Rich back there? I remember, I think he was wearing like a blue shirt or something. Or was that his audition for, I don't remember. Anyway, he was sick recently. I think he's better now. Okay, cool. Well, shout out Matt Pinfield, which I've seen him do, I think, History Channel stuff, or maybe Vice stuff, where they talk about music and all that good stuff. So Matt Pinfield, another one of these characters that we had, for me, at least in my childhood. So all of those people were very crucial in my upbringing and all that. Andrew says, I just saw on the Carl page that Phil Collins entered hospice. Phil Collins in the air of the night? About that guy who could have saved that other guy for drowning but didn't? Damn. Phil Collins. When they were talking about these legends, passing, the Theo Huxtable, the Aussies and all that, Rich had said he would be very bummed when Billy Joel passes. And I'm like, I feel like Billy Joel, Neil Diamond, Phil Collins, I feel like they're all those East Coast people. Thanks for the live checking of the sources, Lisa. Phil Collins is okay. Probably doing that drum solo. Right? Probably right now on electric drums with his headphones, so nobody can hear him. Right? So not confirmed, but hopeful that story is fake. Let me see real quick. Morgan Wallen, white people are crazy. Music stories. Okay. Should we get through a couple more minutes? I'm only 2 minutes into this show, and I've already been talking here for over an hour. But let's watch a couple more minutes, and then I'll let you guys have some of your Friday back.
Malone and Mr. T. And then if you remember when we were little kids, WrestleMania 1 was Hogan and Mr. T.
Yeah.
So they're all sort of tied together. Again, a rough week for our childhood. But 84, when he beat the Iron Sheik, got out of the camel clutch. As a little boy, you're like, oh my God, Hulk Hogan's the coolest. And speaking of the workouts.
Well, keep in mind, too, they were really leaning into the stereotypes. So the Iron Sheik, we hated him.
Of course.
And Hulk Hogan was the real American greatest hero of all time. And the world was swept into that world of wrestling, man.
Hulkamania was running wild, so much so that I guarantee so many people listening and watching right now had this workout set. Did you have the Hulkamania workout set?
Told you, it came with that hand grip. Take a look. Remember Paul Orndorff was part of it? I do. I feel like...
How can I get muscles like you guys?
I feel like he busted the wall.
You can start by getting in shape with the Hulkamania workout set.
Great!
This got everything you need. Head and wristband, a jump rope for warming up, a hand gripper for power, dumbbells for strength, an exercise poster, and even Hulk's own workout tape.
The Hulkamania workout set. You from LJN.
You know what I've said? I've always said, CrossFit, Orange Theory. Fuck that. I did the Hulkamania workout, brother.
See, that was a little before my time. 85. That was even a little before my brother's time. My brother's born in 82. So motherfucker would have been 3 years old. I don't know if you know what though? The hand grippies. My dad passed away in 2011. I swear to God, he still had those bad boys. My dad might have had an aneurysm, but he had the strongest forearms of anybody I've ever met. Dude had those so it was years after they were popular. My dad would be watching Monday Night Football. And I remember he had black ones, he had red ones. And one of them was harder than the other. The black ones were after you mastered the red ones. And you had to work up a little bit. And I remember as a kid, I was like, oh, I could do like once. And I was just like, man, one day I want to be as strong as my dad. And one day Hulk Hogan wants to be as strong as my dad. That's before my time. EJ said, yeah, me too. I hope Mr. Wonderful got a cut of the proceeds before doing that commercial. I hope so too, right?
Look at those pythons. That's courtesy of, you still use those weights, right?
I got my Hulkamania Hulk Hogan signed shirt on today.
So that came out in about 1982. I remember every little kid had that. I remember
85, dude. 85.
Was it 85?
Yeah.
That was before that. I remember one of my buddies had it and left that hand grip, I think, at my house, and I never gave it back. I used that shit into my like 20s. I think I still have it in a box somewhere.
Now, another great Hulkamania moment as we pay tribute to.
All right, I'm gonna dip in a second, so let's go ahead and fast forward and see what else we got. I'm gonna mute that lady. She thinks she's gonna come over here and overtake the show. She's not. I'm gonna fast forward.
The old Hulkster. But I want everyone to just take a moment.
It's weird that Rich drops a big leg on his wife too when he's done.
Watch this and tell me that this isn't every little 80s kid's fantasy come true. Hulk Hogan in the studio with us. Take a look at this.
What year was this about? Like 2005, 6 maybe?
I mean, because this is before our producer Spot was with us.
This is almost 20 years ago.
This is Sammy J, our first producer for Sirius XM. So I'm talking 06, 07.
Yeah.
If Cavino and Rich, you guys are watching this, I want to know. They do this on Fox Sports on the actual radio show, and they do it on Overpromise. Fox Sports, I could see why. But why on Patreon? On Overpromise, I mean. So on Fox Sports Radio, they'll say, "Oh, Spot, our radio guy. I mean, our video guy. Spot, our video guy, right? He's a producer, the video guy." And I feel like when they say our video guy, it kind of, I'm sure there's a purpose, right? I'm sure they didn't, because they only do it on these shows, on the Fox shows. So I feel like it kind of undermines what he does, right? Or it kind of, is that the right word? Let me know in the comments. I don't know how to use these words correctly. I'm trying to sound smart. But our video guy, and I'm like, I feel like buddy, right? Producer, video guy, errand boy. I feel like he does a lot. And I could even see on Fox Sports, because they have Danny G, they have Iowa Sam, they have this. But Overpromised is Spot, right? At least as far as I know. So why still be like our video guy? I'm sure, doesn't he produce the audio? I could be wrong. But I just feel like Spot, saying our video guy, it's a little weird, because I feel like he's much more than that. Maybe it's to us that have been listening for so many years. Our video guy just sounds like a little weak to me. Understand? I don't think it's that deep. Lisa said he's responsible for pulling the videos. I don't think it's that deep. EJ says underselling his role, and then Andrew says what? The bosses probably don't want him featured as much as the Patreon. Okay. Let's think about this. They don't want him featured as much. Okay. I get that. However, why say our video guy? You don't have to talk about him as much. You don't have to bring him up as much. You don't have to. I feel like he's an equal part to the Fox Sports Radio with Danny G, Iowa Sam, all that. I could be wrong. But I'm just saying, like, as far as being in the games that they play with the callers and giving away swiggies and things like that, I feel like he's a very big part of it. And maybe they just want to differentiate, like Danny G's the producer, Iowa Sam's the guy with the little shirts, and Spot's the guy that pulls the videos, and Monty's the girl. I don't know if that's why, but why on Overpromise? Because, yeah, I just feel like maybe they have a graphics guy, but I feel like Spot might have done that. I feel like the audio, I don't know. But I feel like there's a reason. What the reason is, I don't know. Like Lisa said, it may not be that deep. Like Andrew said, they might not want him featured as much. Maybe it's like that because this is the Cavino and Rich show, especially like Fox Sports. It's not the Cavino, Rich, and Spot show on Fox Sports Radio. But I think even, like, they don't say Danny G, our producer, Sam, Iowa Sam, our associate, whatever. Like, why? I don't understand why they throw a title when it comes to Spot. Just an observation. Because it's the Cavino and Rich show, not Cavino, Rich, and Spot. We are just used to having him being such a big part of Patreon. Okay, Andrew, I think I said that, right? Before I read your comment. But I said that, but at the same time, they don't say... Oh, I guess, well, on Overpromise, that makes sense. Cavino and Rich on Overpromise. Now that makes more sense. Look at you, Andrew, solving the world's problems over here. I guess they're giving him some credit by any mention. Yeah. So I don't know. That was just something that I don't know. I feel like we've answered it. So maybe I cut all of that rant out of the one that I put out for whatever. But yeah. Anyway. You know what? It's been a minute. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm gonna dip out. Overpromise is just so quick and concise. I do believe that, Lisa, and I appreciate you guys. Much love for Spot, though. Yeah, and I agree. Happy birthday to him. Happy birthday to my buddy Luis. Him and Spot share the same birthday, a few years apart. But yeah. So Luis just had a birthday. I got to send him a very heartfelt text and no homo, but I love you and whatever, no homo. And then Spot too, it's Spot's birthday. So shout out to both of them. Happy birthday to them. Andrew says, now I have to go watch Overpromised. I think we watched 4 minutes total. But you know what? That's part of my goal, right? You get to sit here with me, kind of BS, and then you get to watch the entire show on your own. So shout out to Cavino and Rich. Shout out to all of you guys. I appreciate every single one of you. 300 episodes. I just, just like Cavino and Rich say that they have not hit their highest level. I see the after show. Actually, you know what? And let me tell you what I'm going to start doing. So I see the after show being more, right? The after show, but later, Cavino and Rich in podcast form, Spotify, Apple, all that. Even on YouTube, I'm going to have, the shows, the episodes, 300, 301, 302, 303. You might see, don't feel obligated to watch it, but whatever. You might see different types of videos on YouTube. Reaction type videos. Maybe there's a new song, right? Part of what Cavino and Rich do is they keep us up, on things. Now we know we're unks, right? If you're over 37, Cavino or Rich said, people think you're an unk, right? So they keep us up on things, what kids are saying, what music is relevant, whatever. So what I feel like I might do, maybe to get more traffic over to the YouTube, is maybe do some reaction videos. Maybe Drake put out a new song and I want to check it out. Maybe there's a trailer for the new Batman movie, right? I don't watch that stuff. But maybe a trailer will make me want to go watch it. Bring the after show type, personality, which you guys know, into different types of videos. So just if you guys are following on the app and all that good stuff, the Spotify and all that, it'll be continue to be episodes like that, as far as numbered episodes, full episodes. But on YouTube, I'm gonna start putting up more content like that. So If you can't always catch me live, go watch some videos on YouTube. Share them with at least one person you know. Tell me you shared it, and I'll send you $1 on Venmo. All right? I can't afford more than that. Sorry, guys. But anyway, after show, but later, I will see you guys. Yeah, I forgot. I got to travel in about 9 hours. I got to drive 3 hours. So after show, but later, episode number 300. Sorry I didn't have like a freaking clown on here doing party tricks and folding balloons. But I will see you guys in the episode. I will see you guys in episode number 301. See you guys later.
On the road to the riches, cause it's all about the paper. Now buckle up your seats and prepare for the journey. Let the music